don't know how to start this without sounding like the worst person alive, but maybe that's exactly what I am. Maybe that's why I've kept this secret buried for so long, wrapped in excuses and guilt, and the hope that if I never say it out loud, it will somehow stay less real. But it is real. And my best friend, my sister in every way except blood, still has no idea that I'm the reason her marriage fell apart. Her name is Mia. We met in 9th grade when we both got detention for skipping math to sit under the bleachers and cry about things we couldn't tell our parents. She was the kind of girl who smiled with her whole face, who made everyone around her feel like they mattered. I was quieter, more guarded, someone who observed life rather than participated in it. But Mia didn't care. She chose me. She was the hurricane that swept into my world, and I let myself be carried with her. We grew up together. First heartbreaks, first jobs, first rented apartments with leaky ceilings and mismatched furniture. She was there when my father died. I was there the night she got engaged to Evan, the man she swore was her soulmate. And maybe that's where I should start, with Evan. When Mia introduced him to me, he had that kind of smile that made you think he might be trouble. Charming trouble, the kind that walks into a room and makes people sit up straighter. He was funny too, quick-witted in a way that made conversations feel like shared secrets. I liked him immediately, which should have been nothing more than appreciation for my friend's happiness. But it wasn't. There was a moment, small, quick, completely stupid, when we all went out to dinner together a week after they started dating. Mia got up to use the bathroom, leaving me and Evan alone at the table. He looked at me and said, "She talks about you all the time. Says you're the bravest person she knows." I laughed. "She exaggerates." "No," he said. "I don't think she does." And the way he looked at me, it wasn't romantic, it wasn't flirty, but it was seeing. Like he understood me in a way most people didn't. I told myself it meant nothing. I told myself not to think about it again. But the mind is a tricky thing. It stores little moments, files them away, brings them back at the worst times. For years after that, I pushed it aside. I loved Mia too much to let anything get in the way of our friendship. I was happy for her when she got engaged, stood beside her at the wedding, held her hand as she cried tears of joy. I clinked glasses with Evan and said, "Take care of her," and meant it. Life moved. They bought a house, adopted a dog. I visited on weekends, laughing at their silly little arguments and admiring the way they always seem to find their way back to each other. But marriage is not a fairy tale. I knew that long before they did. The shift started slowly. Mia would call me at midnight to vent. "He works too much," she said. "He doesn't listen to me. He doesn't understand how lonely I feel." I always listened. That's what best friends do. But one night, after too many glasses of wine, she said something that stayed with me. "Sometimes I feel like Evan sees me as a responsibility, not a partner." I didn't know what to say, so I said nothing. That silence became the first fracture in the ground I was desperately trying not to walk toward. A month later, Evan texted me. It wasn't weird then. He'd messaged me before about surprise parties or birthday ideas. But this time the message was different. "Can we talk?" it said. Just those 3 words. I stared at it for a full minute, wondering why my chest tightened. Something about the phrasing felt heavy. I replied, "Sure." We met at a coffee shop near his office. It was a cold, gray afternoon, the kind that makes the world look washed out. Evan seemed exhausted, darker circles under his eyes, hair uncombed, shirt wrinkled. "How's Mia?" he asked after we sat down. "You tell me," I said. His jaw tightened. "I'm trying. I'm really trying. But she thinks I'm against her, like everything I do is wrong." I didn't say anything. I let him talk. "Mia listens to you," he continued. "She trusts you more than anyone. Maybe you could help her understand that I'm not the enemy?" I breathed in slowly. "What exactly do you want me to say?" He sighed, rubbing his temples. "Just tell her I care. Tell her I'm doing my best. Tell her I'm still the guy she fell in love with." I should have reassured him. Told him I would help, that Mia and he would figure things out, that marriages go through rough patches. Instead, I stayed silent. Because while Evan poured his heart out, another thought bubbled up. Quiet, shameful, poisonous. He trusts me. He needs me. He sees me. I hated myself the moment I felt it. I hated myself more when the next thought came. Mia doesn't know how lucky she is. I left the coffee shop feeling conflicted and guilty. I didn't tell Mia about the meeting. I didn't tell her that Evan was trying, that he still loved her. Instead, when she called that night to complain about him leaving his dirty dishes in the sink again, I let the frustration in her voice wash over me. "I don't think he appreciates you," I said. "He should be doing better." "You deserve someone who listens." Each sentence was a pebble thrown into a river, tiny on its own but capable of changing the current. I told myself I was supporting her, that I was being a good friend. But deep down, I knew I wasn't giving her the whole picture. I was giving her the part that made me feel needed, the part that made me feel closer to her, the part that made Evan look worse. And it didn't stop there. The next few months were a blur of fights, slammed doors, tearful calls, long messages full of frustration. Mia vented to me almost daily, and every time I could have eased the tension by saying, "He's trying," I didn't. I let her believe the worst. I let her spiral. I let the distance grow. Because on the nights she cried on my couch, I felt like the center of her world. I felt important in a way I hadn't since high school. I felt like I was doing something right, even when I knew I was doing everything wrong. Then came the night everything snapped. Mia showed up at my apartment at 2 a.m., pounding on the door with trembling hands. When I opened it, her eyes were red and swollen. She looked shattered. "He said he might move out," she whispered, voice cracking. "He said he doesn't know how to reach me anymore." I wrapped a blanket around her and sat her on the couch. She was shaking, lost, hurting. "This is because he doesn't care," I said. "This is because he doesn't understand you. This is because you've outgrown him." But none of that was true. What was true was that I'd been feeding her resentment, drop by drop, until it drowned both of them. The next morning, she went home and told Evan she wanted a separation. He didn't yell, he didn't argue, he didn't even try to change her mind. He simply nodded, tears in his eyes, and said, "If this is what you really want, okay." Their divorce was finalized 8 months later. Mia moved into a new apartment, started therapy, and told everyone she was reclaiming her independence. She said she finally realized she was married to someone who didn't understand her. But she didn't know that someone had been whispering in her ear long before she came to that conclusion. Me. I was the one who took Evan's desperate attempt to fix things and hid it from her. I was the one who amplified her frustrations instead of helping her see his perspective. I was the one who let my own complicated feelings seep into every conversation. And the worst part? There was never anything between Evan and me. No affair, no confession, no stolen moments. He moved on eventually. He met someone else, a gentle, patient woman named Claire. They seemed happy, truly happy. Mia noticed. She came over one night with a bottle of wine and said, "Do you think he loved me? Really loved me? Or was I just something he grew tired of?" I felt something inside me twist painfully. "He loved you," I said. "He did." "Then why didn't it work?" I swallowed hard. "Maybe you just weren't meant to be." She nodded slowly, accepting the lie because she trusted me. Still trusts me more than anyone. But the truth is harsher. It didn't work because I didn't let it. It didn't work because I let my own insecurities and envy and selfish need for importance bleed into her marriage. It didn't work because I created a wedge and pretended it was already there. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I had just told her the truth the day Evan reached out. If I had said, "He's trying, Mia. Give him a chance." Maybe they would have fixed things. Maybe they would still be together. Maybe they would have kids by now, a house full of laughter and messy toys. Instead, Mia is rebuilding her life from the ground up. She tells people she feels stronger now, freer, more herself. But I see the way she looks at old pictures sometimes, the way her fingers trace the edges, the way her smile falters. Regret lives in those moments. Quiet, subtle, but there. And every time she feels it, a sharp ache twists in my chest. Because that regret is partly mine. I don't know if I'll ever tell her the truth. I don't know if she'd forgive me. I don't know if I could forgive myself. All I know is this: I loved her. I loved our friendship. But love twisted by insecurity becomes poison. She doesn't know I fed it to her. She doesn't know I nudged her toward the edge. She doesn't know I'm the reason she finally fell. She may never know. And maybe that's what haunts me the most. Not the lie, not the guilt, but the fact that she lost her marriage. And she still holds my hand like I could never hurt her. Like I'm still the one person she can trust. I wish I deserved that. I don't, but I carry the weight of it quietly, hoping someday the burden becomes lighter, even if forgiveness, hers or mine, never comes. Because the truth is simple, even if everything else isn't. My best friend doesn't know I'm the reason her marriage ended, and I don't know how to live with that.